Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're pulling key insights from just one source, but it's pretty potent.
Hmm.
It's excerpts from an audio recording. Trey Gowdy goes full Goomba.mp3. So our mission today is really to unpack the questions, the concerns raised in this specific recording.
Yeah, give you a clear path through some, frankly, very detailed allegations.
Exactly.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is just how much you can actually pull from one, focused statement like this.
Right.
We're going to look at the claims he's making, the specific answers he's looking for. It all revolves around Fast and Furious, that federal investigation.
And it really brings up a big question, doesn't it? What happens when the investigation itself comes under the microscope?
Yeah, when it becomes the focus of scrutiny, demands for accountability, especially if people feel like they're not getting straight answers.
So, okay, let's dig into this audio.
Hmm.
What are the main concerns he's voicing about the Department of Justice, about DOJ's role here?
Well, he really zeroes in on senior officials, people at DOJ headquarters in Washington.
Okay.
And he's concerned about what they allegedly knew and when they knew it regarding Fast and Furious. Specifically, long before, the critical incidents happened.
And he lists things out, right? Like specific actions.
He does. He claims these officials, they were briefed on it. They apparently talked about press conferences, even unsealing indictments.
Pretty involved discussions.
Seems like it. He also mentions them trading emails about the case status, approving wiretap applications.
Okay, so high-level involvement is the allegation.
Right. And maybe the most critical point he makes is that they were actively discussing gun walking.
The tactic itself.
Exactly. Discussing it well before Special Agent Brian Terry was tragically killed. And, just to remind folks, gun walking, that was the ATF tactic. Pretty controversial.
Right, letting guns cross the border, hoping to trace them, but often losing track.
Precisely.
Mm.
And the speaker claims this discussion, this knowledge of gun walking at senior levels, happened before a specific letter was sent to Congress.
The letter he calls demonstrably false.
That's the one. A letter he alleges was written specifically to mislead, to deceive Congress by denying that gun walking was even happening.
Wow. So the argument is D.C. knew about the tactic before Agent Terry's death, and before this letter denying it went out.
That's the core of that specific claim, yes. It paints a picture that knowledge wasn't just limited to, say, field offices in Arizona.
Right, that it went much higher up.
And if you connect that dot to the sort of bigger picture he paints, it's quite stark. He calls the whole thing a fundamentally flawed federal investigation.
With devastating results.
Absolutely. He points directly to the death of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. He talks about hundreds of dead Mexican citizens.
Just awful.
Yeah. And then thousands of weapons. Weapons with, quote, America's fingerprints on both sides of the border that are just gone, unaccounted for.
And that letter again, that letter to Congress he insists was false.
Right. It keeps coming back to that. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
That behind all the bureaucratic talk and politics, there are real people, real lives affected.
Definitely. And you can almost hear the frustration in his voice in the audio, can't you? This impatience.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He mentions being asked for more time for answers.
Despite being, what, over a year?
Over a year, he says, since these issues really came to light. And he contrasts that, the time Congress spends looking into things like Major League Baseball or the BCS.
The whole championship series, yeah. College football stuff.
Right. Or inviting Stephen Colbert to testify at a hearing. He contrasts that attention with what he sees as unanswered questions about this lethal investigation, as he puts it.
That frustration, that feeling of being stonewalled, it leads directly to the questions he says he couldn't answer back home, right?
Yeah.
The ones that drove his investigation.
Exactly. Those core questions.
Yeah.
Like, number one, who at Main Justice, that's his term for DOJ headquarters in D.C.,
Right.
who there actually approved this whole investigation?
A fundamental question.
It is. And then, who knew about the gun-walking tactic specifically, but didn't do anything to stop it?
Does he claim to know the answer to that?
He says he has part of the answer from documents he's seen, but importantly, not the full picture. So there's still a gap there, he suggests.
Okay. And then there are questions about that letter again, aren't there? Very specific one.
Mm-hmm. Very specific. How did that letter, the one denying gun walking, how did it even get written on official DOJ letterhead?
And delivered to a senator, no less. Senator Grassley, specifically.
Right. And then why pull it back? Why withdraw it after 10 months? Why did it take almost a year?
Those are process questions, really. How does something like that happen internally?
Exactly. They focus right on the mechanics of communication and, I suppose, correction within the department.
And there's one more detail he highlights, a really striking one, this apparent contradiction.
Ah, yes, the timing issue. He asks why Lanny Brewer, who was the criminal chief for DOJ down in Mexico,
Okay.
why was he apparently advocating for gun walking on the very same day?
The same day.
The exact same day, according to the speaker, that this letter denying gun walking was delivered to Congress.
Wow. That's quite a claim, advocating for it while the department is officially denying it.
That's the inconsistency he points to. He asks, can anyone explain that? It demands an explanation, in his view.
So, faced with all these questions, these alleged inconsistencies, what does he say about Congress's role?
Well, he's pretty forceful. He
Yeah.
says Congress doesn't just have a right to ask these questions. He says it's a fundamental duty.
A duty. Strong word.
Very. And he draws this comparison. He says, look, if you, as a citizen, get a jury summons or a subpoena from the cops,
You don't get a choice.
you don't get a choice. You don't get to offer some extraordinary accommodation instead of just handing over the documents or showing up.
He's making a direct point about compliance, then.
Absolutely. About accountability and the authority of Congress. He basically concludes, look, either Congress has the authority to issue a subpoena and demand full compliance, or, he says, everything they've been doing for the past year trying to get answers was just a fool's errand. Pointless.
So, stepping back, what does this all mean for us listening? We've just gone through a pretty intense set of claims, a lot of unanswered questions, all from this one source.
Yeah, I mean, the speaker really laid out a clear demand for answers, didn't he? For accountability in what was obviously a very high-stakes federal operation.
It definitely shines a light on, well, just how complex government oversight can be.
For sure. And how critical getting information is if accountability is the goal. It really pushes you, I think, to consider the weight of these kinds of unanswered questions.
Especially, yeah, when you're talking about loss of life, allegations of deception, potentially at high levels.
Serious stuff.
So maybe a final thought for you to chew on as we wrap up. If, as the speaker argues, Congress's power to subpoena, to demand compliance is really essential for oversight to work, what does it mean for public trust? What are the broader implications for the balance of power when that compliance is, challenged or seems to be withheld?
That's a big question. It kind of leaves us thinking about the whole system of checks and balances, right?
Mhm.
That ongoing tension between Congress trying to get answers and the executive branch responding, or maybe not responding.
Something to definitely keep thinking about.